Hello, guys, and welcome to another Fox Animation Quick Thoughts. This time, all of the shows are back. Not just one, not just two, but all five of them are back. And most of these are Valentine's Day sort of special episodes. Some of them aren't. Mostly just Boz and the Great North. The other three are just normal out there episodes. So, yeah, without wasting any time, let's start with The Simpsons and Diary Queen. The Simpsons hasn't been any stranger to flashback references and continuity episodes, and I thought this episode was fine. It does get worse with every rewatch, though. I rewatched it, and I didn't think it was that quite good. I thought this episode, considering the logline from Fox, was actually could have ended up really nice. But it isn't really executed that well. The first 2 minutes is the townspeople singing a song that doesn't really have any connection. It's just there to fill time. And then, it doesn't hit until 5 minutes in the episode, the main actual plot. And it sort of feels like a Lisa episode at times, which is fine, but it doesn't really know what it wants to be. It just keeps jumping between Bart and Lisa, and then finally Bart again, It's just not really that good of a pacing episode, things were wrapped up way too quickly in the end. I did like seeing an episode dedicated to Ender Krabappel through the diary that Bart finds, and he thinks that he is the special guy that Edna is referring to in the diary. But I don't think the execution of the concept is very well. There's a cutaway with Milhouse, and that just feels like stupid Family Guy-ish stuff. And also the part with groundskeeper Willie nourishing the bunny. That was really stupid. It was just filler. Springfield Mafia, yeah. Again, just stupid filler. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of this one, and I thought the ending was pretty rushed. I feel like something could have... it could have been better, but it's a little rushed, but it sort of makes up for the bad first and second act, and both of them aren't really that good. I don't really have anything more to say about it. This episode just becomes more nothing to me, it's sweet, but the rest is nothing. I would say it's not really worth your time. Next up, we have Family Guy and Boy's Best Friend. And yes, I'm going in order between the shows and when they came out. So now I'm going to do Family Guy second, Bob's Burgers third, etc. So Family Guy's Boy's Best Friend is basically Brian meets a new girl, but he ends up showing more interest in the girl's kid, and Peter, Quagmire and Cleveland try to get a ride in Joy's classic car that he inherited after his uncle died. And I have to say, this one was better than I expected to be. I was not looking forward to it at all. But the execution of the episode is better than expected. The main story is the highlight of this episode. Even though the Brian meets the new girl plot is a little overdone, this one's able to make it up a little bit by making it more about the girl's kid more than Brian and the girl. And I think that was a better turn for the show to make, because I did enjoy seeing Brian hang out with Kyle. And the subplot is a typical the guys hang out. It's just fine. It's not really anything special. In fact, it's kind of a rehash of a lot of other stuff. There's some funny jokes here. I like Peter seeing the car in worse condition than it already was. I also really like Brian keeping the pizza money for some reason, and he made Kyle bread and butter. I don't know why a lot of people didn't like that joke, but I just thought it was super funny. I liked seeing Joe pretend to drive the car, and I sort of was laughing amused when Peter mixed up the car and the uncle. He said that he was happy the uncle died, but sorry that Joe got the car, and then Cleveland has to correct him and say he meant the other way around. That kind of got a smile, but a lot of the other jokes were just terrible. For every good joke, there was one bad joke. The cutaway of Peter breaking Quagmire's grill was insanely boring. The Cheesecake Factory joke was horrible. Although I do like how they reference back to it at the end when he said Brian made Kyle bread and butter, because at the Cheesecake Factory they give you bread and butter as an appetizer. So I guess it kind of does connect there. Meg randomly popping up, claiming she hosts Family Guy in Germany and how they're owned by Disney was just fucking stupid. That was not funny. Chris wanting Holly to measure his feet is just a reminder of how disgusting he is. It's just plain slop shock humor at worst. Herbert calling animal control was pretty stupid too. Yeah, see, I didn't really enjoy any of these jokes. Oh, and I forgot one more. The one where Chris jumps on Holly's car and asks, Holly's the girl that Brian dated, and asks her to measure his feet after she leaves the house. That was just really stupid. But yeah, the episode is better, better storytelling. Comedy is decent, I found myself laughing sometimes, although for every good joke I said, there's one bad joke. So, it's fine. It's probably just fine, like The Simpsons. It's just fine. Next up, we have Bob's Burgers and Romancing the Beef. And I liked Romancing the Beef. It's a pretty dang good episode. I like seeing Hugo find somebody else today instead of fawning over Linda. I like seeing that the Belchers have something nice for once. They're able to actually win. Like how most plots have them ending up losing, but this one is more on their good side. Also, with Jimmy Pesto being sort of proud of Bob, I'm not sure if they're trying to move into a change in the right direction, but this is what I wish Brian and Quagmire would be like, to be honest, because the Brian and Quagmire thing was totally not asked for, and I just wish it ended. We sort of got some closure in last season with Catfight and how it was likely going to end. However, it brings it back this season, and I just thought, man, I should have expected that they were going to bring it back. The subplot was decent. I liked the party Tammy had. I did appreciate that Jimmy Jr. texted Tina at the end, "Happy Valentines." I honestly, that's probably the best part. The subplot was just decent. It's nothing bad. It's nothing great either. And then, I also liked how Hugo came through at the end, not wanting to shut Bob down. He gets his date. I hope that date comes back because, I wish that the show would, accept some continuity changes and stuff like that. Again, one of the main highlights of this episode was that I really liked how they were able to switch it up and have the Belchers actually win for once. I do like the setup. The entire main plot is really nice to watch. It's probably one of my favorite main plots this season. Even if the subplot's just decent, this episode is pretty good. Next up, we have Bless the Harts and Crappy Death Day, and this one sees Wayne go on a fishing trip with his buddies from the Pumped episode, the episode where they went to the lottery, and he gets the job at Mr. Bixby's, and Jenny, Violet, and Betty spend the weekend together, and then Jenny gets cursed because she tries to get a refund from Betty when she goes to some phony sidekick, that kind of thing. And the Hart ladies are no strangers to clashing with each other. Like in Violet's secret, Violet stops talking to her parents when she finds out they're stalking her. In Pumped, Betty threatens to even disown Jenny and call Violet's friend David her new son, all because of a high-heel shoe chair. And I think that's the main plot of Crappy Death Day, is putting the Hart ladies' relationship to the test. We know that other animated sitcoms tend to have weird and quirky families, but, these tend to love each other, unlike, Stan Smith or Peter Griffin's family. And, their plot's fine, just the way it is. I like the exploration of witchcraft and stuff like that in this plot. It does offer some laughs, like, I laughed when the bed was catching on fire and the sculpture ended up creating a death ray. But I don't think anything here really got close. I think the dynamic is good, but this part wasn't as funny as the subplot. The emotional moment, again, is also a little rushed. The subplot, in my opinion, is the real highlight, even though it doesn't really make too much sense. But honestly, I think it's funny that it doesn't make sense. Okay, Wayne needs the fishing trip to help his coworkers calm down. Then it turns into a survival of the fittest competition because the snakehead ends up invading and releases a neurotoxin that causes them to trip. Do you know when you trip when you have too much acid or drugs, right? That kind of thing. And even though snakeheads obviously don't release that in real life, I think it's nice that they sort of included it. So, it's able to, be a little bit out there. As opposed to, something else. And it's able to push its limits as well. The entire subplot of Blessed Hearts this episode is the show pushing its limits. You know, like and that's a good thing. Considering the fact that all these shows are family-centered sitcoms, animated sitcoms. I like that it's pushing its limits. With Invasion of the Potty Snatcher, it's more about personal growth and character development for its main character Jenny, while also tackling social commentary on feminism and feminist behaviors. And with this, it leans more into how crazy and surreal the show can be, without resulting to like cheap, stupid shock humor like Crossing Swords or Paradise PD. And it all does this while trying to stay as grounded as possible. I like the use of the phenomena and the LSD and stuff like that. The entire tripping scenes are just really funny. They just don't make any sense. But like, and the voice of the snakehead is just really silly and funny at the same time. The animation reminds me a lot of the Midnight Gospel, which is also by Titmouse. They're both, it reminds me a lot of the Midnight Gospel. I remember watching the Midnight Gospel. Unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about the Midnight Gospel. It's not really my type of show, although the last episode I'd say is worth a watch. But, even this entire episode alone is just watching these 3 or so minutes of Wayne and his friends' experiences through the tripping. Some of the hallucinations include like getting invaded by aliens on another planet, performance from the snakeheads dressed up as Victorian men, Wayne about to be eaten by dinner, and even interdimensional travel. I would say I pretty much dug this one. I thought it was pretty dang good. And last but not least, we have the Great North's Avocado Barter adventure, and this episode was the best of the week. So I'm just gonna put it out there. And no, it's not because I watched it 7 or 8 times already. Just because I really like this one, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more so because I just like how different this episode is from a lot of other stuff. There's character development. There's good story. It's not super funny, but it does have laughs. It proves that there's an adventure in every episode of the Great North. And with Sexy Moose Adventure, they travel all around their city just to or all around their town just to get some artifacts back from the ex-wife. And for Feast of Not People Adventure, they travel. I mean, they do a lot of things just to get a cake in for the festival. And this episode is great. It's adventurous. It's the same as the others. First, I like how the episode was able to juggle all three subplots, and none of them were boring to watch. I like seeing Hammond know nothing about Shrek, and then they just wing it. It's silly and funny. Although like after 2 times, it does get a little annoying, but I wouldn't say like I wanted to turn it off. It's just like, okay, we get that joke. You kind of didn't really have to say it again, that kind of thing. And with Wolf's plot, the second subplot, the journey that Wolf and Moon had, for just to get some avocados, it's really something. And they have to trade, travel, and barter just to get avocados. They do a lot of things. I kind of didn't like how the ex-girlfriend kind of just told her what's wrong with him, but then doesn't really try to help him out or anything. I mean, she says he does this problem, but she doesn't really do anything to help him fix it or help him improve. But it is nice to see him on good terms. It's not like they're mortal enemies or anything. And and obviously the best part for last is Honeybee telling Judy her story on how she got to Alaska. And it's great character development. We learn a lot about Wolf and Honeybee in just one episode. Honeybee tells Judy she met Wolf on a forum site about movies. From there, their love over movies got them talking every day, and eventually they became interested in each other. And before I saw this episode, I was always wondering how Honeybee met Wolf, because it's pretty obvious she's not related to them. But this is like the Megalo Memories episode from Blessed Hearts, where Jenny and Wayne meet over a microwave. That is something only those shows can typically tackle. And they did well for it. Honeybee loving Wolf for being uniquely him was very sweet to watch. She even appreciated his gesture of doing this just to get her some avocados. You know, it's nice to see other characters get the spotlight for a change, and for Judy to take a step aside. You know, and in the first 2 episodes, Judy is the main character. You know, Judy is actually the main character of the Great North. It's not Beef, it's Judy. Because, you know, a lot of the episodes of the show focus on Judy. Especially the one coming up about the school dance. I think that's the musical episode too, but don't quote me on that. I think it is. But yeah, that episode really focuses on Judy. And one thing, and yeah, another thing I didn't really like about it was that the emotional core moment kind of ends a little too quickly. But it's fine, you know. It doesn't pack the punch that Megalo Memories does at all. But you know, the entire story of Honeybee and Wolf meeting is really good. You know, it's a lot of character development, it's a lot of story, a lot of plot. It's just that the ending thing kind of just ends too quickly. You know, it doesn't continue into the present. It just ends. And you know, I feel like that plus the part where the strike thing kind of gets annoying. Those are really the only 2 minor problems I have with it. It's a really good episode. It's nice to see this show build its world and its characters, take a step back from typical sitcom plots. This show is actually, in my opinion, hitting right out the gate. You know, like, Bob's Burgers definitely did not hit out right out the gate. You know, they had a terrible series premiere. Episode 2 was good, but then episode 3, 4, whatever is just fine. You know, it's really mediocre stuff. So I'm glad the show is hitting right out of the gate. You know, the writers are using their experience with Bob's to learn from their early mistakes. So I mean, I kind of expected this to really hit out right out of the gate compared to Bob's Burgers. And same thing with Central Park. Central Park's been hitting right out of the gate for me. I really dug season 1. I'm sure I'm gonna dig season 1 of this show. Like unlike Bless the Hearts and Duncanville, this show is digging more right out of the gate. And I feel like that's only because they have the experience with Bob's Burgers, as opposed to Duncanville and Bless the Hearts, where their writers have to, you know, find out their own things, what works for them, that kind of thing. So I feel like the Great North kind of does have that a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, I thought this episode was really good. You know, I really liked it. I also forgot to mention I did like the face blindness joke. I just thought the thing was super funny to me. Like, I have face blindness. No, Moon, you don't have face blindness. that was funny to me. So yeah, I like this one. So anyways, yeah, I kind of rambled a little on with the Great North, but I just wanted to talk a lot about it because it was great stuff. You know, okay, so Simpsons and Family Guy were definitely the bottom 2 of the week. And then you got 3 pretty solid, good episodes of the week. So yeah, not a bad Valentine's week, even though we got episodes a week later. You know, with 3 good episodes and 2 just okay ones, you know, it's really not too bad. I just hope next week is better, but I think next week's going to be worse, especially with that Family Guy episode I am super not looking forward to. And then the Great North released some episodes early on Hulu, and the next episode is good, but it's not as good as this. So, but we'll just have to see. I think I'm gonna look forward to Bless the Hearts the most because they're about to bring in something with big continuity coming in. You know, I know that many sitcoms don't have continuity, but I do appreciate that Bless the Hearts does have more continuity than the others. It's kind of like King of the Hill. Like, King of the Hill had more continuity than a lot of other shows, and I'm glad Bless the Hearts is leaning forward into having more continuity than the others. You know, like, okay, Wayne buys the ostriches in the pilot and he still has them. You know, that kind of thing. Just little nod details to that is just really what makes me appreciate shows like that. And yeah, so again, been rambling on a little bit too much. I want to know what you think in the comments about these 5 shows. You looking forward to next week? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.